Hey everybody, it's Brendan from PCTV Reports, and I'm here in Camas for a Romney campaign event. I get to talk to Romney for a few minutes and ask him a couple questions about the nation and the state. So I'm here with Mitt Romney. Say hello to Park City for me.
Hello, Park City. Great place to be. I'm happy to have a home there.
So we've got a couple questions we're going to ask Mr. Romney. We've got one about the national picture, and then two about Utah itself. So you ready? So the first question today, Trump pulled out of the UN Human Rights Council a day after he was criticized for this child separation situation going on. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think that's the message we should be sending to the world?
Well, two parts. First, with regards to the child separation policy, that represents a humanitarian crisis. That practice should end immediately, and I'm looking for that to occur and for Congress to ultimately solve our immigration problems. Look, we've been talking about immigration reform for a decade. It's really time for Congress to act. And then with regards to the UN Human Rights Council, that's been a group which has been punitive towards Israel for a long, long time. For a while there, nations like Gaddafi's nation, Libya, was chairman of the council. It's been kind of a closely held joke. And I'll look carefully to see what happens as we go forward, but I think it's sending a message that we're not going to just play along with nations that are clearly human rights abusers trying to hide themselves in the council.
So you don't think these two events are necessarily related?
Oh, I think they're both important events, and correction needs to be done at the border. And with regards to the Human Rights Council, that's something which has been a long time in consideration.
Medical marijuana has been getting traction here in the state with the initiative being put on the ballot for November, and with roughly 76% of Utahns supporting the ballot measure. What are your thoughts on medical marijuana?
Medical marijuana, where marijuana would be prescribed by a physician and dispensed through a regular pharmacy, I think is a good idea. I do not think it's a good idea to have people growing marijuana at their homes, or for corner stores to be selling marijuana in brownies and gummy bears. And I'm afraid that the ballot initiative would allow the latter, not the former. So I'd like to see us move to true medical marijuana, not a form of recreational marijuana, which the ballot initiative proposes.
So if a measure like that came to you, you would be in support of that measure, a more regulated version of this marijuana initiative?
Well, as we do with other pharmaceutical products, they are prescribed, they're dispensed by drugstores. That's what ought to happen with marijuana, like other products, including opiates and so forth. We have many very dangerous drugs in many cases that are prescribed and dispensed appropriately, but we don't sell them out through corner stores, and we don't sell them to kids. And that's my concern with regards to the ballot initiative.
You talk a lot about bringing Utah values to Washington, assuming you get elected. Talk a little bit about what you mean by bringing Utah's values to Washington. What do you mean specifically?
Well, first of all, treating other people with respect, whether or not you're in the same party. Secondly, making sure you don't spend more than you take in, balancing a budget. I'd also note that here in Utah, we welcome people who have differences. Those who come here from other nations, we welcome them and help them integrate into our society. We don't disparage them personally or in an aggressive way. We're a people who are family-oriented. We care about one another. We're also willing to serve. I learned that during the Olympics. We went out and asked for a few thousand volunteers. Tens of thousands of people raised their hand and said, "I'll volunteer." It's a remarkable state we live in. And that kind of spirit, that can-do appreciation of one another, willingness to serve, and frankly, our patriotism, our love of our country, and the values of our country, all those things, I think, help define Utah. And Utah, in many respects, is the quintessential American state.
And any ideas on how you can bring out these together in some kind of form of policy or I guess, a tone?
Well, many of those things are just how you treat other people in the Senate, how you treat people that are in Washington, and some may require policy changes. So, for instance, balancing the budget means a whole change in the way we appropriate funds, the way budgets are put together. It's going to take a long time to get us on that track, but those are things I'm going to fight very hard for.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Romney.
Great. Thank you. Take care.
We'll do our best to keep you up to date on Romney's campaign throughout the campaign season. This is Brendan from PCTV Reports. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.